evening and welcome to Meticulous Moments. My name is Juanita Kapp. You can reach me at meticulousmacarons@gmail.com or find me on LinkedIn. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, I've had the wonderful privilege to meet a wide array of fantastic individuals. These individuals have truly touched my life in so many positive ways. Amongst this group of people, there are authors, public speakers, life coaches, poets, leaders, and visionaries. They are the unsung heroes of our time. Therefore, I decided to start the Meticulous Moments movement out of a sense of my gratitude. It is my way of giving back to the community. Let us share and reshare their stories in an effort to build a better society. Good day everyone, Juanita Kapp here all the way from South Africa, and I would just like to welcome you to another session of Meticulous Moments where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the amazing Marlyn Brito. She is an author and she's also a survivor of sexual child abuse. In this session, we will be having a discussion on the topic of leadership as well as the backstory of her book, Screaming Eyes, The Signs of Sexual Child Abuse. Enjoy this wonderful interview with us. And with that, we say welcome to our guest speaker. Welcome, Marlyn Brito. Good day, Meticulous Moments audience. Today we have the wonderful privilege of spending time with the amazing Marlyn Brito. Good morning, my dear friend. How are you?
Good. Good morning. How are you? Well, good evening for you.
Yes. Yes, you are indeed correct. We are almost at evening. I'm doing so well. Thank you, Marlyn. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. Would you like to please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes. Well, hello. Good morning. My name is Marlyn Brito, and I'm from Camden, New Jersey.
That's wonderful. And I notice I say Marlyn, so my pronunciation should be Marlyn.
Yes, it's okay. Everybody pronounces the way they want. Marlyn, Marilyn. It's as long as you get the word correctly, it's fine.
Okay, wonderful. As long as the first part is correct, no worries. Sometimes I'm Juanita, sometimes I'm called Janita, sometimes I'm Juanita, so I know the feeling. Wonderful, Marlyn. You went through very traumatic events in your life as a child. How did this shape you into the leader that you are today?
Well, I'm not sure if I'll call it a leader, but it shaped me to be more aware, more protecting, and it helped me put an end to my generational curses.
Yeah. So you've been going through a whole process of healing and discovery, and it's just wonderful to me to see your process, the growth that you have shown. And here at Meticulous Moments, we wish to facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And I noticed, because I know you, we've video called before, we've been on the same calls, we're both part of AMA, the Author Millionaire Academy. Your book is coming out soon, and you've really been touching and transforming lives through your story, of abuse. And what are the telltale signs for parents that you can share with them that children are being violated? Because, in your situation, nobody realized that this was happening.
Well, signs that you can probably tell right off the top is like wetting the bed. Like if your kids like constantly wetting the bed, and it's not because they're drinking too much liquids before bed or they're too late to get up to go to the bathroom. Wetting the bed is a sign of abuse, and it could be any abuse, not just sexual abuse. Also, the way they're acting. One minute they could be a happy little child, always want to play for, and all of a sudden they're not so happy to themselves, don't want to be bothered, don't want to be touched, always look like miserable, like out of nowhere. Also, I always tell them to pay attention to how they react when a certain person is present.
Mm.
They was so happy and goofy, and now this person came in, now they look like they don't want to be there, they look scared, worried. You have to like put two and two together, like something's going on, you know.
Yeah.
And always tell parents, and I always tell everyone, do not ask your kids around anybody anything, because you never know that the person that's doing the damage is in the room, so that child is forced to lie. Always ask them when they're by themselves, and if you have multiple kids, don't ask them near their siblings. One by one, talk to them one by one, because I've heard of siblings hurting siblings, family
Yes.
members hurting family members, friends, and it's never, when you hear that. And I know one of the questions here was about statics. Like, what are some things to learn? When they say stranger danger, that's a myth.
Mm. Mm.
It's never a stranger. It's always a family member or a close friend. So you
Mm.
have to, be careful and make sure, you protect your kids from anyone. In my case, it was my father.
Mm. Mm.
My mom and them never noticed the signs because we never been to something so traumatic to recognize the signs.
Yeah.
I just looked at like I always wanted to be with my father. I'm daddy's little girl, but that
Mm.
wasn't the case.
Mm. Mm.
So you have to be like very careful
Yeah.
and keep your eyes
Yeah.
open. Little different changes in moods and different signs on how they act. And the name of my book is called Screaming Eyes.
Mm. Mm.
Signs of child sexual abuse, because my signs was screaming eyes. Maybe your kids can't open their mouth and tell you, but they're probably like,
Mm.
with their
Mm.
eyes, they're like, you're like, what's wrong with your eyes? Like not noticing that they scream help, you know.
Mm.
So pay
Yeah.
attention to kids, facial expressions, body language, anything could be screaming out help.
Absolutely. Thank you for that wonderful advice. And I know your backstory, but there might be audience members who have not been enlightened by your story, have not heard. Would you like to share at what age you were molested, until what age, and how it happened, the abuse? I can call it sexual abuse. That you went through, and how you really got out of it. Would you give us a little bit of a backstory there for audience members to hear?
So I was around, I always remember the age 2. I don't
Mm.
remember nothing else about what I did when I was 2, but I remember that moment because it was so traumatic. And I remember that right after I was turning 3. So that's why I knew I was 2. So it was from like 2 to I was 11 years old.
Mm.
I, I used to be in bed with my father all day. Like, it wasn't even normal for a little girl my age to be in bed with him all day. But he used to tell me if I say anything, he was going to kill my mom and my siblings and me. So
Mm.
right
Mm.
away, I don't know how my mind as a little girl turned into like a survivor mode.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to stay shut and lie and not say nothing to protect my family and me.
Mm.
So when they would ask me, like, come on, you get out the room. Why are you always in bed with your dad? And I used to, since they're asking me next to him, I would have to be like, no, I want to be with daddy. I want to be with my dad. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And then I will be like with my eyes like, and since they don't know, they
Mm.
be like, what's wrong with your eyes? Why you look like that? But
Yeah.
again, I'm next to my dad, so I'm forced to lie. And I'm like, no,
Mm.
I'm just tired. I want to stay with Papi. Go, go. I want to stay here. But deep down, I didn't. Deep down, I wanted to be saved, but I didn't know how to find the help that I needed without alarming him and him causing to hurt all of us. So I had to live with
Mm.
that for a while, and then finally my mom started noticing little signs of
Yeah.
me not a happy little girl anymore. um I used to be upset. I didn't want to celebrate Father's Day. Like, why would I want to celebrate a day for fathers? um
Mm.
I started acting out, so she put me in a program. At first I thought it was a boys and girls summer program, but it turned out to be like a therapist clinic, and they had summer program for kids my age. At that time I was 10 going on 11.
Wow.
And um, one time we had this session. They had boys on one side, the girls on
Mm-hmm.
one side, and they asked us um, to see what we knew about sex.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I said something stupid, like just to say something like, "Oh yes, I seen my sister and her husband having sex one time."
Yeah.
So then it's going around the circle. Everybody's taking their turn, and then all of a sudden I see everybody in my face like, and I'm like, "Why are they looking at me like that?"
Yeah.
And it hit me. I didn't even notice that I blurred out my father raped.
Oh,
And notice, because I'm telling you, it wasn't even me. That was the Holy Spirit, girl, for
I
because
mean,
I didn't even know I said it. I didn't even
yeah.
feel it come on my lips, and everybody
Yes.
was. So it kind of hit me, and I got scared, and I
Yeah.
started crying, screaming, "He's gonna kill me! He's gonna kill me!" And I ran into the nearest bathroom, locked myself in there, and I kept screaming, "He's gonna kill me! He's gonna kill me! He's gonna kill me! He's gonna
Yeah.
kill me! He's gonna kill me!" And then my therapist finally got me out the bathroom, and she sat down with me and talked to me, like, to make sure that everything I was saying was true, and
Oh,
what the next steps was going to be, because this is something very serious. And
yeah.
I'm like to her like, yes. And I'm telling her that, she asking me if he lived with me, and I'm saying no, he don't live with us anymore. My mom and dad had got separated already before that, but I would
Yeah.
still be with him because he used to rent a room, and he would still come pick me up because he wanted to keep me by his hip at all times,
Mm.
just in case
Mm.
I start talking.
Mm.
So, um, my, my therapist had to make an appointment for the very next day for my mom to come in. So then my mom came in the next day, and we sat there, and the therapist looked at me and was like, "Do you want to tell her or I'll tell her?" So I just broke down, started crying.
Yeah.
Tell her. And my mom's like already looking like worried, like, what's going on here? And as soon as the therapist starts telling my mother, I looked over to see if, like, as soon as my mom hears this news, to see her reaction,
Yeah.
to see if her reaction would let me know if she knew. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Because it was like
Yes. Yes.
weird. I wanted, like, do she know what was
Yeah.
going on? So I'm looking, and as soon as she says it to my mom, my mom's my mom's whole face and whole mood just changes. Everything changed. At that moment, I seen like a spirit of, like, I don't know if you ever been in the cold
Yeah.
weather, but when you're in the
Yeah.
cold weather, like a fog coming out of your mouth, like
Mm. Yes.
I,
Yes.
I seen that come out of my mom's eyes, like her spirit of happiness and joy just flew out of
Mm.
her eyes. From that moment on, when my mom would look at you, she could be smiling, but her eyes
Mm.
were so sad. Like, it really broke her inside. It really showed
Yeah.
me really didn't know. She really
Yeah.
didn't have a clue. Um, it looked like it broke her, like if she messed up like a mother,
Yeah.
but it wasn't her fault because
Mm.
he used to make me make up stories for him to them, So it's
Yeah.
not really their fault. They was listening to what I was saying of what he was having me say. So
Yes. Yes. What a horrific thing for a little girl to go through. And to, you know what I was thinking now as you were speaking, I wonder what must have gone through your mind as a little girl, because, when we have to wait in a queue somewhere and it takes 15 minutes for a child, it feels like it's an eternity because they're busy and they want to play and they want to do things. And I'm thinking to myself, what it must have felt like for you to have been in this situation and not have known, but when will this end? Because, I mean, when you were small, you didn't know they were going to separate, your parents were going to separate when you were 10. I mean, how hopeless must you have felt, because this was your life and you had no way to get out of it. And still, I look at you and I see God intervening. I see God maybe allowing the separation, of course, and putting telling your mom to put you into that group, and how He just opened the doors for you to speak up about it. And I look at you now, Marlyn, and you are such a beautiful person and you are such a kind soul. You do so much community work. You have a daycare center at your home. You help children. You are writing your book. You want to bring it out there. You want to give women voices and men, children, boys that were harmed when they were children. You want to empower people and elevate them. Tell us a little bit more about that, what you are doing now. How do you balance what you went through with who you are now? How do you bring that impact?
Well, I don't know. I kind of, to go back to what you just said about what my mind probably was going through at that time. I remember one time laying there next to him.
Yeah.
My mom and my siblings downstairs, probably a movie, just laughing and having a good time. And I'm just laying there like, I want to be downstairs with you guys too. Like, is this normal? Why me? Stuff like. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people do this, but I kind of I'm my own consoler, counselor. I talk to myself. I motivate myself. So at that age, I was already so mature mentally.
Yes.
I was already, my innocence was stolen at an early age. So my eyes were already open to things that some adults don't even understand now. I was so, way sort of beyond time in my mind already. So I was already thinking stuff that little kids don't even think. I knew sexual. I knew, it was just weird. But me now, as an adult, I can't. It's like when I see a kid do something, and they be like, and I catch them doing it, and they be like, "Oh my God, how you seen that? How you know that?" I was like, because I've been there, done that. I was sneakier than the sneakiest. I invented that, So that's like on top of things. Like my daughter, when she do things, I'm already ahead of her, and I'm like, this is. I'm telling you not to do this because it's lead to this. Because I've been there. That, I feel like I'm a little overprotective. And it kind of sucks for my husband because I always tell him when we have a little girl, it's gonna be difficult. I'm not gonna trust no one. I'm not saying that I don't just trust no one changing taking them a bath. Because they were like triggers. Because when I was younger, my dad used to always want to take me a bath, to touch me down. One time he would take my niece a bath, and I fought him. I pushed him away, and I fought him. I had to, at that time, I was like about 7 or 8. She's like 1 or 2, and I'm like, I had to save her. I had to seduce him and tell him, you don't want her. You want me. You don't know what to do with you. To send him on his way so I can take care of her, because I didn't want him to touch you know,
Yeah.
so I could save her life at that moment. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
even now with little kids, when I'm changing their diapers, I'm like covering them, their private areas, and I'm
Mm.
like, everybody, go over there. I'm changing a diaper. Move. Even the little kids, like, I don't want
Yeah.
no looking at their private areas. I don't want, nothing
Yeah.
unimportant. I don't let kids go to the bathroom at the same time. Like,
Yes.
um, certain kids go through certain things at home too. So when I bring kids to my home and they're different ages, I
Mm.
don't let them play around horseplay, because some kids are probably going through the same thing at home and want to repeat it to somebody else's kid. Like, I have to, like, remember, like, people out here are sick and they're raising their kids to be the same way. Because I've had an incident of a little girl that wanted to be kissing and humping on a little boy, and I had to keep them
Oh,
separate. I had to talk to her, tell her that that's wrong, and I
yes.
was my testimony to see how, if she get comfortable and share hers.
Yes.
Little like stuff like that. Like, I'm very open to the girls, older kids. I'm open. I had one time I got together and I did like a Valentine's Day for preteen girls. We went to this hotel. We was at the pool and stuff. We played games. We had fun. But then I had serious talk, and I shared my testimony with them. And one of the little girls had got up and started crying and ran to the bathroom. And
Oh,
I talked to her for a little bit, and then I understood that almost the same thing happened to her. And I also showed them what worked for me. I showed them that this is not the end. What
mm.
happened to us is not what defined us.
Yes.
To be strong minded, to pull yourself out of that darkness.
Yes.
You know? So I don't know. It's kind of weird for me to say
Yeah.
that what happened to me kind of made me the person that I am today.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
not
Mm.
even mad about it, because I'm a strong, independent woman.
Yes.
And thank glory to God. God
Amen.
saved me from that. And now I went from why me to I'm glad it was, because I was
Yes.
able to carry that burden and that pain. I was going to survive it. Half of the things I went through, someone would already killed themselves or would have been out in the streets on heavy drugs, prostitution, you know, but I didn't. I
Yes.
didn't. I survived from that. God had to work in me first in order for me to share my testimony and save others. So glory to God. I'm grateful that it was me to carry this torch, to carry this this opportunity that God had gave me to save others. And I'm glad, because I'm a perfect example. Like,
Yeah.
if me without knowing my story, I am funny, I'm outgoing, I like to start the party, we're
Yeah.
having a good time. And then I tell you my story and you're like, what?
Yeah.
You can't believe that I went through something so hard like that, all that pain and suffering, because of the way I carry myself. Like I said before, that your pain and suffering you went through do not define. You have to take that pain and turn into a purpose.
Beautiful.
Glory to God. But God did it all.
Amen.
God, I've been to so
Amen.
much therapy, therapists, doctors, and nothing worked for me. I went to
Yeah.
therapy and I felt like they used to open my wound and just throw salt and alcohol and would just make
Oh,
it work. Make me want
yeah.
to believe that my mom had to know something. So after therapy, I used to call my mom and curse her out like, "Mom, tell me you didn't know." Like it was causing more anger than healing.
Yes.
So I shut down. I didn't even want to share my story anymore
Yeah.
till February 2018. I caught this big anxiety attack. I was suffering from anxiety, PTSD, depression, and I'm like, I don't even know why, because deep down inside, I was still suffering that same childhood pain. And I didn't
Yes.
even know. It was still killing me inside, and I didn't even know because I wasn't even talking about it. So I didn't even
Yes.
was worried about it. But deep down inside, my body was deteriorating with this stress that I didn't even know I was going through.
Yes.
So I gave myself to the Lord. I got baptized.
Hallelujah.
Little by little, He started healing me, healing me, healing me. One day we was at this retreat, and He spoke to me and told me, I need you to go talk to your sister and your mother, and I need you to forgive them. And I'm going to restore your relationship, sister, and I'm going to restore the happiness back into your mother's eyes. And glory to God, it happened just like that. Talked to my sister, I forgave her. I talked to my mom, I forgave her. And everything been so beautiful after that. My
Mm. Mm.
eyes don't look sad anymore. It's
Yes.
just it was so beautiful how God just takes all that and makes it brand new all over again. And then
Mm.
little by little, I started sharing my testimony in women's retreats. They started asking me to come to other churches to share my testimony, women conventions, radio station. I
Yeah.
even turned my testimony to like a little kids preaching, and I did a children's service in one church, another children to show the little kids how to open up.
Mm.
So
Mm.
God, I see God in everything in this testimony.
Amen.
Then someone put it in my mind like you should write a book, and I'm like,
Yeah.
write a book? What? I don't know. At first, I was thinking small. Oh, I'm gonna do like a little pamphlet,
Yeah.
like just little helpful tips. And then from that, that's when I got introduced to Emilio, Roman, and Daniela.
Yes.
At first, I was still not ready until this year. I called them a couple months ago, and I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready. That's it. I'm ready. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna get it done. And it's God's will. In Jesus' name, God, let it be your will. And
Amen.
I'm just want to show everyone that you don't have to suffer that suffering pain. It don't have to kill you. You don't have. That's not the end for you. Uh,
Mm.
and I'm a real good example for that. I'm a independent businesswoman. I'm pretty blessed. I'm good. I'm content. My
Absolutely.
world didn't have to end there. I'll turn my pain into, like I said, purpose. I'm saving kids here. I'm all
Yes.
Tony. I'm sorry. Did it cut off? Someone call me.
No, we are here.
Okay, so even with my testimony, I haven't seen yet that I saved any kids' lives, but I've noticed that adults had come
Yeah.
to me after I share my testimony, and they would be like, I have never said this to no one. My wife or my husband don't know this. And they've been with their wives and husband for years. And they will share their testimony with me for the first time,
Yes.
like helping them open up. So that's a huge blessing, huge blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are a huge blessing to the community. You are a huge blessing to us. You are such a valuable person, and your heart is so beautiful. And, thinking back of what you've been through and what you made of it, it is just such a story of inspiration and hope, taking what was done to you, and really what I call flipping the script and making it something positive. You only had yourself, and you have navigated yourself through all of these years. And I'm very, very proud of you. I commend you on that. And for those who don't know who Emilio and Daniela Roman is yet, they are the mother and father of the AMA family, Author Millionaire Academy. So we are both proud members of the AMA family. And I can just imagine how Emilio and Daniela's excitement really assisted you to be able to realize that your life so much more than just a pamphlet, Marlene. It has to be a book. And I'm sure the one book will lead to another book and another book. So I want to ask you the following, because in our country, when I do counseling, I am sworn to silence except for two things. Except if I hear that someone is being molested or raped or abused at home, then I have a obligation to report. So I can't speak out of a counseling session except if one of the following two things happen. If someone is being abused, if there's drugs or sexual abuse or other abuse, evident, or if a murder has been committed. Now, how does it work in the States? What is the course of action that should be taken if a parent suspects that there is sexual abuse, or if a parent suspects, that there is physical abuse or any, drug abuse or anything that's being pushed upon a person, a child? What is the course of action in the US? What would be the road to follow, the action to take?
Well, I remember the way mine's happened. It was the therapist, and I told her.
Yeah.
She spoke to my mom, and I remember her telling my mom that we had to go home that day and act like nothing. Act like no, act like nothing has been said. Because if my father suspect something out of the ordinary, he would have fled the States, and we wouldn't have got to lock him up. So you have to do it in a sneaky type of way. Like, speak to, if you're a religious person, go to your pastors.
Yeah.
Go to a police station and talk to a detective. Like, I want to talk about this and this and this. I'm suspecting it, but I want it on a hush because I don't want this person to find out that we're talking about it, so we can be able to apprehend him or her. So, I think that's the best way, because if you go all out, go crazy, and just call the cops and just you cause a commotion, it might give that person a way to run.
Yes. Or
get a way to lie and manipulate the situation and still get away. You know what I mean? You have to do it way sneaky, calm down, because I know you're gonna go crazy. Just calm down and do it the right way. Don't take the law. Don't make the situation worse than what it is.
Yes.
Body carefully and take steps to it. Play it off, because that day when we went home, my dad came to pick me up that day.
Oh my goodness.
And looked at me, look out the window, tell him you're not going with him. So I'm over here I'm trying to look out the window no, I don't want to go today or whatever. And he's insisting, he used to give me this, he wasn't playing type, so I used to be I can't. So my mom got tired of me telling him no, that she poked her head out the window and said, I said no. She was just because she was already ready to go jump out that window.
She wanted to.
Yeah. So, so we went back in the house and he had left, but he was already planning on kidnapping me. Because when the cops found him and they picked him up the next day in the morning, they had a car full of clothes and stuff. I guess it was ready to take me and run away with me or something, him and my uncle. And then once he got locked up, my uncle came knocking on the door the next day, and my mom looked through the peephole and seen that he had a gun.
Oh my goodness.
So we had escaped through the balcony to my neighbor's house and called the cops there, but he had left. So that's why I'm saying you have to be careful when you're doing this, because you know what harm it can cause, what danger it can cause, so just talk to someone carefully that you trust, not someone that you're gonna talk to and they're gonna call that person and be like, oh, they
Yeah.
talk that. You can't make sure someone you can trust, go to, and make the proper moves to catch the person.
Absolutely. That's what, some wonderful advice. And I was thinking as you were articulating that a person that would do what your father did to you, and those out there that are doing that to other children, they are already mentally unstable. And because of the fear of getting caught, who knows what lengths they will go to protect themselves. So I agree with your advice to keep it quiet, and to do it in a manner so that the police can successfully apprehend such an individual. And it's really, it makes me worry about society to think that there are people out there that would do these things, and yet we see it. I mean, I've seen it in the ministry a million times, and I'm just happy that you speak up about it, that you spoke up about it, that you're doing your writing your book, that you are going to put it out there, because yes, there are many adults as well that have never dealt with the skeletons in their closet, that rather pursue peace, and they don't want to hurt anyone, but that's not the way to live, in that secrecy, with the pain. The way to live is to open it up and to deal with it, and to break that silence. Now, your book is titled Screaming Eyes, Signs of Sexual Abuse. Tell us how, when are you going to launch your book? I know, of course. When are you going to launch your book? And how will people be able to purchase your book? And give us some details about your book, because this is really, to me, something that will shine in the darkness.
It's launching January 7th, 2023. And I have the link on my Facebook page. I can also share with you so you can share with others.
Yes.
You can go on the website and catch the pre-sales. In the pre-sales, you get the discount plus a personalized message, my autograph, or you can wait till it's on Amazon, which they're going to charge a little bit more. But also, I'm going to have it in English and in Spanish.
Wonderful.
So I can't wait for that. Soon my whole cover will be done. I can't wait for that either.
It's going to be awesome.
Something that I thought was going to be like super small. It's just keep growing every day. So
That's wonderful. I'm so proud of you, Marlyn. Now, before we get to our last two questions, I'm sure there's going to be people in the audience that either have gone through sexual abuse or other types of abuse and have spoken about it and have dealt with it. And they are going to be reaching out and grabbing your book, because it's a resource for them to give it to someone else that they might identify as going through the same thing. And then there are audience members, I'm sure, that have gone through that type of abuse that are still deciding if they want to say something about it. And there's two things that I wanted to ask you, because I think those would be two questions that they would ponder on naturally before they make a decision to speak. And really, we are here today to make an impact. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart, firstly, for giving God the glory, and secondly, for sharing this with the audience, because this is going to help people. The two things I wanted to ask you is, when you reunited with your family, how was that like? Because this is something that it breaks relationship. And the second thing I wanted to ask you, and we have talked about this, is to explain to the audience your father's response when you finally confronted him when you were an adult. What was his response? Because this is going to help people to kind of learn what to expect should they choose to speak up. So would you like to elaborate on that for the audience, please, so that we can elevate them and give them this information?
So I just found my family on my father's side. I didn't know them for 36 years. July 11th of this year, I stood up late that night. I didn't take pills because you're supposed to go to sleep. And I stood up and I started looking through Facebook and stuff, and I had this little app that popped up called peoplelooker.com,
Mm-hmm.
and I got on it, and I wasn't even thinking about my father. I was doing some other stuff on it, looking up different names and stuff. And then all of a sudden, it just crossed my mind, and I was like, let me type his name in. So I typed his name in, and I got his address. It popped up, and it showed me that he lived an hour and 30 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
Then I seen that he had 4 Facebook pages. So I go on the Facebook page, and I'm going through pictures, and I see that there's people commenting saying, "Hi, Uncle. Hi, Dad." And I'm like, who are these people? And I started just going through his friends, and I'm like, everyone that had my last name or said anything to him on the pictures, I all sent them all the same message that night. And I put, "Hey, do you know who I am?"
Yeah.
And I didn't get, it was like 2 in the morning. So I'm not getting a reply. And I'm still in the message request because I'm not friends with them. So later on that day, I try to call them through
Yeah.
Messenger, and I'm not getting no response. Then all of a sudden, someone wrote to me, and it turned out to be my uncle, my dad's brother on the dad's side, my
Yes.
grandpa. And he's like, "Yes, I think you're my niece from my older brother,
Oh.
Juan Bruno Brito." And he was like, "Write to me on my page," because I was writing on his wife's page. So as
Oh.
soon as I write on his page, he FaceTimed me. And as soon as I answered, he was like, "You look like Migdalia, my grandmother,
Yeah.
my dad's side." And I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And he introduced me to my sister. So I have 3 sisters, 3 brothers on my dad's side. Never knew. I knew I had siblings, but I never knew who, how many, was it boys or girls?
Mm.
Didn't know nothing. All I ever knew all these years was 2 of my uncles' names and my grandmom's name and her birthday. That's all I knew. Because that my dad is Cuban, so the Cuban side I never really
Yeah.
knew nothing. Nothing. So I spoke to my sister. She was emotional that we finally found each other. She started sending me pictures that she had of me since I was a baby. Because I guess from that time when my dad was with my mom, he used to
Yeah.
send pictures to my grandma. And then she sent me my brother's phone number. And then I called him through WhatsApp. And he answered like, "Hello." And then he just went like, "Hey." Like he never knew me. But something in my, he looked at me and was like, "Hey, like why she
Yeah.
looks familiar?" Or something.
Yes.
He was like, "Can I help you? Like, who are you?" And I was like, "Well, technically, I'm your baby sister." And he was just like, "Oh my god!" Like, and his wife got excited. She jumped in the camera
Yeah.
like, "That's her!" And we started talking and everything. But the only part that I hated so much,
Yeah.
that I'm finally meeting my siblings and my uncles and aunts, and I had to start off with that story.
Yes.
Like, like what
Mm.
just be a happy moment. And I
Yeah.
tell them like, well, the reason why I have not met you guys is because my father kept me away. He told them that my mom, when I was 11 years old, that my mom packed us all up and we moved to Puerto Rico. I
Oh
never
my.
moved. I never moved to Puerto Rico. I lived in New Jersey. I was
Yes.
I was born in Jersey City and lived in Camden, New Jersey. I never moved to Puerto Rico. So he kind of like made sure that we would not find each other type situation.
Yes. Yes.
So me telling them, it was like a bittersweet moment. Like,
Mm.
so then I was talking to my brother and I told him, I said I want to go to his house. I want to go confront my dad. And
Yeah.
he was like, "For real? You serious?" And stuff. And I was like, Yes, I've been ready for this moment for a very long time.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like I can see you in the mirrors. Can you go upstairs real fast? Thank you. I'm sorry.
No
Okay.
worries. No, no
So,
worries.
so at first, my brother wanted to come with me because he's in the moment, like, whatever you want to do, I'm there for you. I'm going to do it. I got you. But then he was already so hurt listening to it because my brother on my dad's side, he was the only one in our whole family that was trying to make that father and son bond.
Mm. Mm.
But then, here I come and I'm telling him who his father really is.
Yeah.
So he could. My brother had the whole eye situation. Like my mom, he looked at like he just broke down. He didn't
Mm.
sleep for 2 days after that. Like he was really torn about the news, and then it changed. And he was like, from oh, I want to go. We're gonna do whatever you want to do. To I don't think we should go. We should wait till we go with someone professional, like some
Yeah.
type of professional therapist. I'm like, no, I'm
Yes.
I'm ready to go now. I don't need no professional therapist because I'm not trying to develop a whole father and daughter bond, especially
Mm.
with
Mm.
and seen as a daughter. I said
Yeah.
I'm good, so I already prepared myself to go by myself. So I told two of my friends, I was like, hey, I'm planning on going to Jersey City, where he lives, and to confront him. Would you want to come with me? And they both said, yes, we're going. I checked my car, gave it a tune up to make sure it was going to make it, got 4 new tires. Um, and that was a Saturday, and Sunday morning we went that same week of July.
Yeah.
Um, I went Sunday. I was like preparing myself. Like, even my pastor was like, I don't think you should go. And I
Yes.
was, I was like, Pastor Lady, with all due respect, I love you so much, but I'm not
Yes.
telling you. This is
Yes.
something I couldn't even tell my mom or nobody out here or my husband because they would have tried to convince me not to go. But
Yes.
what everybody needed to understand was this wasn't for them. This
Mm.
closure
Mm.
was me.
Yes.
Everybody was just witnesses of my pain. I'm the one that lived that pain. They can move on and be like, "Oh, to hell with him," that he don't need no forgiveness. Like they could live that lifestyle with that.
Yeah.
Couldn't. So I couldn't tell nobody. And I told my pastor, like, I'm sorry, I'm going, and that's it. So she was just like, well, let me prepare you with 3 things just in case.
Mm-hmm.
One, he can accuse you to being a liar, make you feel like crap. 2, he can be remorseful and forgiving. Or 3, he can just walk away and walk away and not hear what you have to say. And I said, if any of those 3 happen, I'm still gonna say what I have to say. And I'm
Mm.
that pain suffering there.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we get to in front of my dad's building. He lives in an apartment building with like older people. He's 76 years old.
Mm.
And we park up. We had a perfect parking spot because when God does something, God does it perfect. A
Amen.
perfect parking spot in front of the building. And then I'm just looking at my friends like, okay, I don't know what to do because I don't know if I wanted him to come outside
Yeah.
or meet him at a restaurant or call the police, like have a police officer present because I don't know
Yes.
what's happened. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So then I was like, you know what? Just come, let's go. I'm gonna just knock on his door. Just come on. Whatever happens, happens. My friend was recording everything.
Yeah.
So once we get to the building, you have to have like a special code to go in. But God,
But God.
this older man just opened the doors. We went
Wow.
straight in. We look at the security desk, no security. So I just go in the elevator, we go up. Like if I've been there before, like I knew exactly where I was going. I went straight upstairs. I knocked on the door and I hear like, here, yo boy, like, here I come, you know? And
Yeah.
at the time, I had my sister, his daughter, on FaceTime so she could see everything. And on the other phone, my friend was recording.
Yeah.
So he opens the door and he's like looking like okay. And I show him the phone and he's like, oh, Pupita, my daughter. But then he's looking at me, he's like, okay, so like, I don't understand. Like, who are you? You know, he
Yes.
haven't, I was 11 years old.
Yes.
Here I am,
Yes.
36 years old now. And I pull my mask down and he still, he don't recognize me. And I'm like, it's me, Marlyn Brito. He was like, oh, my daughter, come in, like, come in, come in. So I walk in and stuff, and he's like opening his arms to like hug me. And I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not here for that. I said, I'm only here to tell you that all that pain and suffering you put me through,
Yeah.
I, for- I forgive you. I'm ready to leave all that here and walk away and leave it all behind. So at first, just like my pastor lady said, in order
Mm-hmm.
to try to make blame me or try to say
Mm-hmm.
it's not true. So right
Yeah.
away he was like, "Oh, I never did anything to you. That was your mom and your brother and sister putting them lies in your head about me. I never did anything to you." So I was like, "I'm not here for that. I'm not
Yeah.
down memory lane. I only came to say I forgive you." So then I just turned around and I left. So we left the car in front of the building and we walked to like the nearest restaurant. And I'm sitting there with my friends and stuff. And they're asking me, are you okay? How are you? And I'm like, I'm okay. But deep down inside, I felt like I wasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that
Mm-hmm.
was like an ambush. Like I just went in
Yeah.
and left. So I kind of like caught them by surprise. I texted my mom and I told her, I, I did it. I told him. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I confronted him. I told him. And she's like, where you at? And I said, you know where I'm at. So I sent her the video. And I text my brother on my dad's side, and I told him, I think it'll be okay for me to tell you first, hear from me first. I confronted your dad, and I told him everything, and I left. So my mom seen the video. She was like, wow, he looked so old, and he looked like to say so much to you. So after I left the restaurant, I told my friends, you guys stay in the car. I'm going to go up by myself this time. I said he had plenty of time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll open up more to me by myself and say things that he didn't want to say in front of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go up this time, I'm talking, I'm knocking and he didn't open right away. I'm like, oh my God, did he do something to himself? He not opening now. What's going on? So I was about to walk away, but the Holy Spirit said, knock again, knock harder.
Yeah.
So I knock real hard and I hear him say, I'm coming. So he opens the door and he's like, I said, you okay? He was like, no, no, I'm not okay. I'm not going to be okay. Come in, come in. And I walk in and I sat down. Now he's like, and I'm like, I didn't say nothing yet. And then he's like, oh, I touched you. I touched you down there, but I never penetrated you. And
Oh, glory.
I'm looking at him like, that would be believable to someone else,
Yeah.
but not to someone that lived with you and stayed in that bed with you for all those years.
Yeah.
I said, I understand that you're 76 years old and
Yes.
you was heavy drug, smoke crack, rocks, whatever. You did all multiple drugs, alcoholic. And I'm pretty sure you blocked that memory from your mind. So I don't blame you that you don't remember details, but I do. I remember everything. So you don't have to sit here and pinpoint what you remember or anything. Just know that I forgive you. But at that time, my brother on my dad's side calls me, and I turn the camera around and I'm showing him that I'm still there. He was, "Oh my God, you really there?" I was like, "Yes, I was serious." So he
Yeah.
goes on the phone with him, and my brother's telling him, she's there to forgive you, but it's not for you, it's for her. And
Yeah.
he was, "Thank God I wasn't raised with you, because she was till she was 11 years old, and look all that pain and suffering you put her